Sorry about that, everybody. Welcome back to BizTalk with Sherman. I'm your host, Sherman On from Hoteling Insurance Services. Excited to have our next guest on. Chris Beasley is a sales just maverick, leadership development. He's president of Compass Sales Solutions. It's affiliated with Sales Acceleration. He has over 30 years of experience in sales, leadership, and also in training. And he works with owners of small business and also medium-sized businesses to build a performance sales training teams that actually drive growth. So without further ado, Chris, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Sherman. It's great to be with you again.
All right, so quick question for you is, how do you get involved in advising business owners about sales management?
Well, Sherman, I started as an engineer a long time ago and quickly found out that I was more interested in business issues, sales, and strategy than I was just in the technical aspects of being an engineer. So I got an MBA degree and spent several years in management consulting, business strategy, and then came back to industry as a business leader. So over the last 30 years, I've led sales and marketing teams, been a vice president and general manager of a number of business units. And in that process, I've had the opportunity to do several turnarounds and revitalizations where I would come into a company that was flat, not growing, had problems, and was able to fix those problems, put a new sales team in place and get things moving with the right strategy and the right tools for success. And I've found that very satisfying to see jobs preserved and companies growing and happy and winning business. So I've had a great career doing that, but the downside has been a lot of travel, a lot of missed opportunities to be home with the family, and a lot of relocations. My wife and I and our kids have moved all over the country several times. So by this point in my career, I wanted to have my own business. I wanted to be able to stay put and make local connections and really try to help the local business owners succeed as well.
Now, for you, Chris, why do you enjoy working with small and medium-sized businesses?
Well, Sherman, I grew up in a family business, a small business. I grew up working for my father, and over my career, I've worked for a number of major corporations as well as small companies. I love solving problems. I love seeing businesses grow, but I especially enjoy and get satisfaction out of the impact of seeing the effect of that on families and communities. For example, earlier in my career, I went to work for a company that was having significant problems. It was the major employer in 2 different small towns, and the business had been flat for 10 years, was not growing, was not making money, and the owners were considering closing that business, which would have been completely devastating to those towns where it was really the only major employer. And by giving them a new strategy, a new sales team, and a much more proactive and growth-oriented culture, we were able to save that company, save those jobs, save that town, and it was very satisfying to see, instead of people worried about their future, they were able to invest in that town, add people, and grow it. That's been, very happy to do that. And so now if I see companies which are having problems or companies which need to grow, I get great satisfaction out of helping them down that path, creating the next chapter of success for their legacy, and helping the jobs and the families. It's just a lot more satisfying than seeing a small stock price bump in a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Now, I know that there's a growing trend out there to do outsourcing the VP. What does that mean to you in sales, VP of sales?
Well, an outsourced VP of sales helps clients in 2 major situations. One is a company which is experiencing rapid growth, and they've started the business, got some sales going, but now they need to scale it up and get bigger. But they don't have the sales process and a dedicated sales team or the expertise to hire and build a sales team to drive growth. So as an outsourced VP of sales, I can work with the owner and actually do that growth for the company, drive that growth. The other type of customer is one which has experienced a plateau or a decline in sales. Perhaps they're losing salespeople, they're losing customers, and they don't have the expertise to turn that around. They're not sure what's wrong. And in those situations, I don't just advise the owner and walk away, but I can actually roll up my sleeves and work alongside the owner, lead the sales team, wear that sales management hat. So the outsourced VP of sales can help on a part-time basis the business owner put the right infrastructure in place so that the owner will have confidence, clarity, and comfort that the business is on a path to success. And so as an outsourced VP of sales, I put the right people in place. I hire people, fire people if I have to, put the right systems, process, accountability, the right tools for success. And so it's really a broad-reaching approach from strategy to process to actually staying with the owner and executing the plan and seeing the business grow until they're able to reach a point where they can hire a full-time expert to run the sales team.
Now, can you give us an example of a good success story in this capacity?
Sure. There was a family-owned sign printing company, and it was in the second generation. It had been in business for 45 years, and they were doing about $10 million a year in business with about 25 employees. But they were relying on one major client. They had one major customer that was 70% of their business, and they had no new customers in the last 3 years. And their business was gradually declining. The revenue had declined by 20%. Their one customer was pressing them for price decreases, and they were losing money and worried about their jobs. The owner was not sleeping at night, didn't know what to do to get the business moving forward. So he called Sales Acceleration, and we evaluated and restructured the sales program completely. We refocused the strategy and the resources on new products and on major client development, and we created job descriptions and actually hired 2 new business development representatives. We helped them put in a new CRM system to track and understand where the new business is coming from, to be able to forecast their growth. But as a result, even within 3 weeks of hiring those new business development reps, they had more new client meetings in 3 weeks than they had the entire previous year. And over the first year after they called Sales Acceleration, they had a 20% increase in sales. Their pipeline for new business went from 0 to $4.5 million. Their entire business was transformed from something that was flat and losing money to an aggressive growth enterprise. The CEO was able to relax. He could sleep at night, understanding that his family's legacy was secure, the business was growing and healthy, and he could focus on long-term investments, and being the CEO, didn't have to worry about how to make sales grow or how to manage the sales team day-to-day basis. He had Sales Acceleration to take care of that for him, and the business was a big success.
Great example there. How can, if someone's listening here as a business owner, how can they be able to implement and outsource a VP of sales for themselves?
Well, they can call Sales Acceleration, or they can call me at 713-588-0169, and I'll be happy to help them or put them in touch with one of my colleagues in their local area.
All right, wonderful. Thanks again for coming on the show. Chris Beasley, President of Compass Sales. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing those with us. We're taking a quick commercial break, folks, and come back with marketing expert Mike Moran.